This film has been classified 18, which means it's for adults only. It may also contain some very explicit language, which will frequently mean sexual swear words. Thanks for listening. Enjoy the film.
Motherfucker, I'm trying to watch The Last Boys, you know?
Hello and welcome to Vhs Showdown!
I was going for Vincent Price, but I lost faith in it.
You sounded like
Vincent Van
Gogh.
Gogh.
You sound like Giff off Futurama. But happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween,
Yes,
everyone.
yes.
Yes. We must be well close to Halloween now.
Yeah, fourth and final.
Of October, yes.
Well, we've been round the crowd. We've all picked one now, except for Anthony Murphy. So, what have you gone for?
So I wanted to go out with a bang with this one, and I went with Lost Boys.
Fucking yes!
Yeah.
I'd say this is probably the most requested film that I've seen, and by that I mean I think I might have seen two people ask us to do it.
Both of them asked for it. Was one me?
Yeah, possibly, but I think Lost Boys is one that I've actually seen a few people sort of mention that we should do.
Yeah.
So the reason I picked this, one is because it's been requested. I love it as well.
I love it!
Me and my wife on our honeymoon in California, we actually made a detour to go to Santa Cruz where this film is made because of this movie and see some of the places in it, which I guess we'll talk about as we go on.
I didn't even realise that you got back from your honeymoon that Santa Cruz was renamed for the film.
Yes, yeah. Well, there's quite an interesting fact there about that, but we'll get to that in a bit.
Yeah.
So I know this film from being a kid, and like I said, love it. So Lee, what was your experience with Lost Boys before I come to this?
Well, I can't remember the first time I saw it, but I remember the trailer, and specifically the bit where like David's dropping through the fog. That bit in the trailer was like, fucking hell, that looks scary. So I can't remember the first time I've seen it, but I've fucking seen it, I don't know, 20, 30 times or something over the years.
Al, what was your history with this film?
I suppose around that sort of time benefited from obviously having older brothers, so like having these sort of films were just around the house, an absolute classic, innit? So like, yeah, I remember it real well. I haven't watched it for a very long time actually. No, but yeah, fucking great, man. Yeah, great.
Darby, how did you come to this film?
I saw this for the first time when I was between 10 and 11.
So what, early 90s then?
Yeah, but at the time I just got into skating with quads, and this film came out. Somebody put it on for me. He was like, "Oh, check this film out! Like, look at this!" And it was like he stuck it on, and you know, you can straight away you can see people skating and having fun in this fucking intro and everything. And it was like,
Did it make you drop your 18 toys? Were you like, oh my god?
yeah.
So much BA just falling to the
Nothing
floor.
could fucking stop him from playing with those toys.
Anyway, I saw this film, and I don't know whatever it was, but I fell in love with this film straight away. And this film is got to be in my top 3. And I don't know what my top 2 would be yet. But
Let's get into it then. So it came out in 1987. Had 3 writers.
Yes.
One was a lady called Jan Fisher. Also, the other thing she wrote was The Golden Girls. That she went on to write. She's one of the co-authors in this. A guy called James Jeremias, who literally did nothing.
Well, he
else.
did something well.
Well, he did nothing else.
But he did something so well, he didn't need to do anything else ever again.
He won and done. And then the other guy was it Jeffrey Nome?
Boom.
Jeffrey Bohm, that's it.
Yeah.
And he wrote loads of 80s bangers. He wrote Inner Space, Last Crusade,
fucking hell.
the Lethal Weapon films. But he did it.
We did like a treatment.
Uncredited rewrites
Yeah.
or treatment or whatever. It was produced by Richard Donner.
But he was going to direct, wasn't he? Originally.
What did he direct instead of this?
Lethal
It was
Weapon.
Lethal Weapon. He
Yeah,
did
yeah.
instead of this. Oh, of course, Richard Donner did Goonies.
He's going to be like Goonies. Everyone was going to be a lot younger in it. And then Lethal Weapon came along and he took that. In Lethal Weapon, there's a scene where they're outside a cinema and Lost Boys is on at the cinema as a nod to the film that he almost did.
I think they were filmed at the same time as well, so it hadn't actually come out, I don't think. So the guy who came along was Joel Schumacher. Because the original whole concept of this was, it was based off Peter Pan. Peter Pan like never grows up, flies into Wendy's window, and they were saying he's clearly a vampire, so that was the premise where it
That's
came
cool.
from.
That's cool comparison.
And then when Joel Schumacher came in, he hated the idea of them being kids. He was like, vampires are sexy. So he wanted to make them sort of teenagers and make them a bit sort of cooler and hipper, and which was obviously the right move.
Yeah.
And they were quite hip.
They were rad.
They were very radical.
I mean, although I don't know if they were setting trends though, because it was like short of a Guns N' Roses video. They were kind of more like trendsetters rather than being on
they're
trend.
on the fringes of society, aren't they? So they're just like wearing anything.
It's funny because watching this, it's like a surf town, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's, although this is 1987, it's obviously very 80s. But the fashion seems 90s as well. It made me think like Bill and Ted. They think like surfery stuff quite often are trend setting. They seem like ahead of their time.
Yeah,
do you know
well,
what
it's
I mean?
that cool sort of counterculture thing, isn't it? By the time we hear about it in merry old England, do you know what I mean? It's been picked up by some studio execs.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we can market these kids, you know, because...
Yeah, they look like that naturally, but then like Tommy Hilfiger comes along and starts selling a coat for about £80,000 that looks like that.
Yeah,
And then before you know it, what was cool is now shit.
Well,
Yeah,
it's
well,
quite
look,
ironic
it's a
because
vicious
they
circle.
look like surfers in the face, but they don't dress like surfers.
No,
ever.
no, no.
No,
But
but
they are. Yeah,
They pull it off, don't they? It's
Yeah.
a weird sort of take, but it's great. It works.
So they always do it with everything, don't they? So from like punk to like
Oh,
hip hop.
yeah.
You know,
Look at where Blade ended up in just black.
they could quite all easily be in the back of the gang in Bad, couldn't they? The Lost
Yeah.
Boys, do you know what I mean? That's the thing that they're going for. It's quite flamboyant. It's quite sort of like metrosexual, really, isn't it? A lot of it. They look, do you know what I mean? With the
Yeah.
long
It's
hair.
like hair metal.
Yeah, with Twisted Sister. So yeah, Joel Schumacher brought that whole sort of aesthetic of like cool, hip sort of sexiness to it. And that's his whole thing. He wanted to have good-looking kids and to make it all, you know. So
He did some classics as well, by the way. Joel Schumacher.
and he did some shit as well.
He did do a lot of shit. Obviously, he was responsible for the 2 worst Batman films.
Yeah, but the first one, Batman Forever, got a bit of charm to it. It's not too bad.
Yeah.
I mean, if you put it up against Batman and Robin, then yeah. But as a film,
No Dark Knight.
Flatliners as well. Classic.
Yeah, Falling Down.
Falling Down, yeah.
Falling Down's a great film. Yeah.
Embarrassed to say I've never seen it.
Oh, that's a good film.
So we have mentioned a couple of times that it was set in the fictional town of Santa Clara. Now the reason that the writers picked that was because Santa Cruz in the 70s had like a mass murderer and 2 serial killers
Fucking hell.
in the space of like 18 months.
2 famous ones, actually. There was Ed Kemper, who
That
was
one?
on Mindhunter, which is pretty fucking good, but they would like profile serial killers and stuff.
I think one of the guys was a mass murderer, not a serial killer. Maybe he did something and killed a few people in the aftermath of it or whatever. But then the other 2 were like actual serial killers. And so it was always in the news. Santa Cruz was known as the murder capital of America because of these coincidences. They had these 3 mass murderers in the space of a short.
I think fucking America is the murder capital of America these days, isn't it?
Well, yes, yeah. But I think this was actual sort of serial killers.
Political.
Love you, our American listener.
So yeah, when they agreed for them to film it, I think they started hearing about how it was being portrayed in the film, and they were like, "Oh, well, we don't want you to do
Yeah,
that."
change the name or we're not letting you film.
So they changed the name of the city from Santa Cruz to Santa Clara. But if you're ever travelling around California, it's well worth a visit. It's still a lot like this movie with all like fairground
I'd love
rides
to
and the
go
pier
there.
and everything, and there's some cool stuff. Right, so let's get into the film then. Right, so obviously it opens with amazing intro song.
Fucking soundtrack is killer.
It's great.
So what song I forgot was in this film? Fucking Walk This Way. I completely
Oh,
forgot
yeah.
that that's in this
Yeah.
film. If you'd fucking said to me Walk This Way, I probably would have argued with you, but no, it's
Yeah,
not.
because you've got soundtracks in films that are like, you know, stuff like RoboCop and, you know, Aliens, where they're like, oh, fucking great. But when you pick in actual tunes that exist, this has got to be one of the best
It's
soundtracks
amazing.
fucking ever.
The opening song was an original song written for this
Yeah.
movie, wasn't it?
It sets a scene, it sets a tone. So powerful.
I think he read the script but hadn't seen the film.
Banger. Fits it well.
Yeah, brilliant opening.
The fucking logo is so cool.
Yeah.
They're so recognisable and it's fucking great.
Yeah. So we open with a shot of coming into Santa Clara.
Going across the ocean, isn't it?
Like it's flying.
Yeah.
Shay.
It opens and it's just immediately, there's such quality to the film.
The colouring of
The
it,
colour,
the colour,
the way it's filmed, and it's only like an $8 million budget. And you
and a
think
half.
about what they fucking did.
Do you know how many days they shot this film?
How many?
Like fucking 21? That's what
Did
they
they?
shot the whole
Did they?
thing in like
Yeah,
21
yeah.
days. And I swear they said like one of the stunts in the film, can't remember what they said, yeah, that took a week. So like everything else was filmed in like fucking 2 weeks. How the fuck they did it? I don't know. But
On that shorter budget.
Amazing that they shot it so quick. So yeah, we open with sort of the flying shot and we open up with the Santa Cruz pier looking amazing with all the fairground rides. That pier actually got destroyed. I think in the early 90s there was like a big earthquake, just like they reference in the film later on, and it wiped out the entire pier, so they had to rebuild it. And a lot of the shit from this film, like the comic book shop, that got destroyed, and so when you go there now, these places are there, but it's what's been rebuilt, and like the comic book shop's actually in a
Still the
slightly
same
different
owner
place.
as well, isn't it? The comic book shop.
Yeah, man. Well, me and my
Yeah,
wife went in
yeah.
there, and I've got a picture of me holding the actual.
I bet that's all they sell there.
Okay. I'll tell you what, there was fuck all to do with Lost Boys in the entire town. Apart from that comic book shop, you'd think they'd have a statue or like some like plaques or something. There's the odd little bits, like there's a restaurant, they do a thing there called garlic fries, and it's French fries with raw garlic chopped on top of it. It's not very fucking nice.
Disgusting!
That's the fucking worst meal I've ever heard.
So I ordered it because I was like, oh man, wicked, you know.
Put some peppercorn with garlic in it or something. Like,
You put it in mayo or something.
Coat
do you
your
know what I
fucking
mean?
fries. Like,
Crisp it up.
It's literally raw garlic on top of fries.
But you hate it, don't you?
Yeah, I think that's because that's what they're sort of referencing, aren't they?
happy honeymoon, darling.
So anyway, we open up with the pier and we go straight to a shot of like a merry-go-round, and we are introduced to the Lost Boys and a 17-year-old Kiefer Sutherland.
He's 21.
He's 17.
He's
isn't he?
21.
he's not 17.
He's 21. Him and the bloke playing Michael are 21.
He's not 17 in that. There's no fucking way. But I think there's a quote where Joel Schumacher was talking about it or something, and he says that he was only 17.
What year Stand By Me out?
86.
So it would have made him like 16 in Stand By Me.
Well, I mean, if he's 17, he's fucking amazing.
21.
But even if he's 21, fair play.
I
to
mean,
him.
Stand By Me was like his first American film, wasn't it?
He's great.
But he's fucking amazing amazing. He's got such presence.
Yeah, he's fantastic
Yeah,
in this.
he is.
He looks the shit.
Kiefer Sutherland's full name is Keitha William Frederick Dempsey George Rufus Sutherland.
Fucking hell.
Fair play.
Named after his mother.
He's got the name of like an entire family in there.
Yes.
I mean, there's some awesome names in
His dad was obviously like a big star, wasn't he? But, the bloke who directed his dad's first big film was called Warren Kiefer, and that's why he named him Kiefer Sutherland.
You don't hear of any Kiefers, do you?
No, but that's why it's a fucking random bloke surname.
Pretty fucking cool name, though.
Yeah.
And then obviously one of the gang members is Alex Winter, who is listed in this film as Alexander Winter. And it was Joel Schumacher, the director, who convinced him to change his name to Alex because he said it's too big, it's too many letters for credit, so he wanted him to make it smaller. But they couldn't change it in time before this.
He's fucking great in this.
This is listed, I think, as his first film, but he was in something before this.
It's good. It's like he's obviously Bill, but he's got like menace to him as well, hasn't he? Do you know what I mean?
He's thrilled.
He's not, if he says anything, it's not a speaking part, really. He's got a great delivery on everything he does.
They do that classic fucking 80s gang laugh. Yeah. Just sitting in the background laughing at what they're...
80s gangs are just unnecessarily cunts. They were just going around at the shopping mall, like
Terrorising.
mad dogging people out for no reason.
dropping shit and just walking out. It's like,
And then you've got the other members of the gang. There's Paul. Paul's the one with the dark hair, and he's a bit shit. And he's
think
only
you're
got
right,
one
actually.
line in the entire thing.
Is he?
Yeah. Joel Schumacher, the director, pushed him and like hit him when they were filming because he was so shit. And he said it's one bit of his career he regrets more than anything that he actually got physical with this guy.
Since when did you become the physical type?
He got so pissed off with him how shit he was acting, and apparently he ended up like roughing him up in this scene. Everyone was like, "Ooh," when it happened on set, and didn't want to really.
I'm
talk
not
about
seeing it was. If he only had one line, it's got to be that scene.
I think he had more than one line,
you're
but
right.
he ended up with one line. I think.
Paul's one line in that film is just the bit where he gets shot.
you miss sucker.
Yes, that's his only line. His only speaking
Fucking
line.
what a line.
Yeah, he does deliver that one quite well. Yeah. And then Twisted Sister, isn't it, the other one?
Alex Winter is Marco.
And Kiefer Sutherland.
Dwayne's Twisted Sister then. So while they're going round the merry-go-round, there's like a mall cop, the security guard of the pier, who ain't having any shit.
No.
But having some
Tells him to walk
argy-bargy
in.
with another gang first.
Well, he goes over and fronts with that woman, doesn't he? He's like rubbing her hair and shit, and the guy gets up all in his face.
But it's great. This is all happening in the first few minutes, but you get everything. You know, you get their presence there and their cockiness, and it sets everything that's coming up.
It's all ominous and exciting.
A lot,
great.
a lot of
It's
this
great.
film got edited out, and there was a whole bigger subplot about this gang. In
Oh, the
film.
other gang?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
when I watched it, I always thought it was just like random people.
Oh,
at the-
it was another
at the pier.
gang, was it?
Yeah. And they were called the Shark Nazis, right? And if you look at the credits, it lists them as Shark Nazi 1, 2.
Yeah.
And in the original shooting script, they actually had a way bigger part, and it was like you had the vampires, and then you had the Shark Nazis.
Did they turn into sharks?
It could have been good.
They were
shark
they were
Nazi.
sharks that turned into Nazis.
In some way, that's made Nazis even cooler.
Somebody was sat there thinking, yeah, what's real meat? What's too real meat? Sharks, fucking Nazis, Shark Nazis. But I think it's probably good that they didn't put them in too much. I think, you know,
No,
it
it was,
so
it was the
Yeah,
perfect
yeah.
exposure. You got the point that there was this grudge that had been fucking set, and that's the great thing. Man, this film just does it right all the time. It's like they just spend enough time doing everything. You didn't need to be any longer. It was
No,
great.
they made the right decision.
So, you know the bit where the security guard takes him off?
I told you to stay off the boardwalk.
Do you think he knew that they were vampires?
No.
There was always like, he knew but kept quiet because he let them do their shit, but as long as it wasn't on the boardwalk.
That's
That's a nice theory,
it's
though.
cool.
And-
It's never even alluded to, but
No,
I mean,
I
the
know,
whole
I
point
know.
is like, could have just been a night that he let him off and they didn't want him. But that's a cool subplot.
I always thought of it as like he knew and he didn't want them causing trouble on the boardwalk. That was happening.
He was very
somewhere else.
deadpan when he
Like-
spoke to him, wasn't he?
That's
Yeah.
kind of quite cool. Although he seems pretty fucking shocked in a minute. So.
Oh yeah, fuck yeah,
Which
yeah.
you would be. So yeah, we basically see they sort of like disappear off into the crowds or whatever, and you see the security guard finishing his shift.
The
for the
fair's
night.
closing for the night, isn't it? The rides are sort of shutting down and you get an
Yeah.
aerial shot. This is the thing about it as well. It should have been a drone, but of course didn't have them then, so everything aerial has to have been a helicopter, surely. Or rigged
I
cameras, but...
think a lot of it is in reverse because they
Fired this camera out of a cannon.
no, because you know how
Caught it.
and then swam out to catch the camera.
you know how a lot of the scenes are always going into a space, so it's like them flying into like the cave or a window or
I
something.
think into the cave is probably reversed.
Yeah, so it was like because you can see a bit like
Yeah,
when
they
they're
leave
coming out
that to
the
the
cave
last
and
minute,
it's
then
like,
we'll get to
you can
that.
see a little bit of waves. It's a great effect.
The sound of the flying noise.
Yeah.
It's scary.
I love the
then-
fact you never see it.
The only thing you
great.
ever hear of them as well is like some laughing in
Yeah,
the sky.
yeah.
They never talk. You
Yeah,
just-
well, I imagine it's to do with the budget. Why you never actually
Yeah.
see.
Oh,
them
yeah.
But it is good. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
Jaws, isn't it? It's
Exactly.
like, I wonder what the fuck is going on
It works
there.
in the Jaws way.
happened by accident, yeah.
So you have this awesome shot. Security guard runs up to the car trying to get in, and then phew, you get ripped off into
He
the
rips
air,
his
doesn't he?
fucking door off his car though.
Yeah.
That's the
How
whole
hard
thing.
was he pulled?
You don't see anything else. They get the camera angle just right. You only see him just like getting fucking straight up into the sky, and it's like, what the fuck happened there?
Every time they do it in the film, it's cool because it's so violent. It's so they just go on, and I love the way it's kind of shot with the camera sort of pointing up. So it's just black. It's just like they go into the abyss.
Because you know if they tried to do that, it was going to look shit.
It'd be like a little lad just
flying.
That's literally what they're seeing, isn't it? They're not growing wings or anything, so they're like. How do you think they're flying? Do you think they're completely sort of straight and
like Superman?
I kind of see him a bit like.
The thing is, though,
he's got wings.
They might have, because when they transform, like their feet turn into like claws and stuff. So you don't know whether they could have something.
I think they can levitate.
And they sleep hanging.
He's levitating all over his house.
When you listen to it, though, the sea shots when they're like coming back home, you can hear like this.
They're whistling.
Got milk bottle.
They're having a hoedown in the sky. But yeah, I think it's alluding to the fact that they're flapping wings. I think they can fly without them, but they got them, so why not use them?
Well, they're quite magical vampires, these ones, aren't they? But they are. We'll get into the can as we go. So yeah, he disappears off into the air, and then we are treated to some daytime shots of.
It's when Your Strange comes on.
I think you're really going to like living in Santa Carla.
It's brilliant how they do it because I love the flicking through the radio.
It's amazing.
And you got the dialogue of the family in the car as they're driving up to Santa Cruz, and they're trying to find the right station.
The montage is so good. It paints such a good picture of what this town is.
Another reason I wanted to live in America when I was a kid. It was like, I want to live where this fucking craziness is, because I remember the feelings when I watched this film, and it was like, what the fuck is going on here? It was like, you're allowed to do anything there. It was like when fucking Pinocchio went to that fucking land. It's just people driving with their feet out the cars.
It's the British equivalent would be Newquay or fucking
Blackpool.
Barry Island. Do you know what I mean? But do you know what I mean? That's what it was like. We used to go down to Newquay.
It was fucking great.
Wild down.
It was great.
Yeah, it's not quite as rebellious there now. It's a little bit cleaner than that. You don't get the punks and the thingies obviously now.
Again, maybe this only resonates with certain people, but Echo and the Bunnymen, like, People Are Strange.
Yeah. I always thought it was the Doors version.
When I was a kid, I just thought American. I just thought it's such a fucking. It gets you so fucking like hyped up for the film. It's just so good.
And the fucking credits are still happening here.
Yeah,
and you haven't even got that far into the film.
I think I prefer the Echo and the Bunnymen version.
Definitely, 100%.
They Killing Moon as well, didn't they? Anyway, yeah.
As they're driving in, we're introduced to Jason Patrick, who's looking devilishly handsome.
He's 21 as well.
He's 21.
He's the same age as Kiefer Sutherland.
He's hell of a perm, isn't he?
He has.
It's like a mullet perm.
Kiefer Sutherland was getting married to Julia Roberts, and he ran off with her from the altar.
Jason Patrick did. Well, after this film came out.
Well, in 1991, so not too long after. Yeah, she jilted him at the altar.
Fair play.
Remember back in the day, 1991 and 1987 were like fucking 20 years apart.
Yeah.
Like now it'd be like, that was 4 years. Yeah. So it'd be like fucking nothing. Do you know what I mean? But at the time, like 91 seemed so far from 1987. Do you know what I mean? It's fucking crazy. That's mad. So they've always kind of had a rivalry then.
Yeah, but I think they've done stuff since, so maybe they've. I don't know.
He's quite zen though, Kiefer Sutherland, isn't he?
He wasn't in 24.
No,
fucking madman. Did you see the amount of shit that he did in 24 hours? I'm not having that show as well, by the way. Yeah, that didn't happen in 24 hours.
Do you see him go for a poo at all during 24? Because he must do.
You can go a day.
He must at least have a piss.
He's definitely having a piss, aren't you? In 24 hours.
A couple, I would have thought.
Stop for a sandwich.
I once went 5 days without having a shit.
Did you?
Yeah.
5 days?
Yeah, and by the time I eventually went for a shit, it was like I split my asshole. It was like my asshole had seized over. It was fucking horrendous.
Did it bleed?
Yeah, I can't remember if it bled, but I just remember the pain. Like,
my word.
Dear Lord.
Anyway,
he's used to that now, I guess.
Yeah, I'm just widening it now. I got flesh tunnels in there. I'm using a train pipe at the moment.
Oh, Christ.
R.I.P. your butthole.
Still not wide enough.
R.I.P. this segment of the podcast. And it hits the cutting room floor. So you're introduced to Jason Patrick playing Michael, and then his younger brother played by Corey Haim, Sam, and their mum. She's in a couple of other things, isn't she?
I thought she was in more.
Is she in fucking Parenthood?
She is in Parenthood, yeah. Edward Scissorhands as well.
That's right, she's the mum.
80s mum.
Yeah.
Corey Haim was 16 in this.
Was he?
Yeah.
He looks younger.
All the main cast are great in this, aren't
Yeah.
they?
Nailed it. They nailed it.
Really, really good. And what's great in this, I think, is the writing and the interaction between the two brothers is really believable. You can tell they've got great affection for each other, but they're complete to each other, and they hate each other and they fight, but it's played really well. So we see the Santa Carla billboard, and on the back it says about being the murder capital of America.
You'd at least have that up in Santa Cruz, wouldn't you?
Well, that's what they didn't. That's what they didn't want.
A picture of it, I suppose, or something.
They rely on tourism there, and they really didn't want to be associated as like the murder capital. So they come into Santa Cruz. They kind of set it up as a little bit sort of rough around the edges, and we find out that these guys have moved in from wherever they lived before to stay with their granddad.
He's good.
He's
brilliant again.
He's a great actor in this, and the character's written really, really well. So it turns out he's got this old like sort of wooden, fucking cool house, man.
Yeah, it's like a cabin.
He's fucking trolling them all the way through.
He's the granddad you want to be when you're around, and he'd be class to be a bit like that. So yeah, he's pretty cool.
He's got some great lines.
He does.
All the way through.
So he's a taxidermist, and we introduced him. He's a bit of a quirky character. He sort of shows him around the thing.
First of all, when they find him, he's pretending to be dead on the porch. His mum's like, no, he's just a deep sleeper. And they're like, well, if he's dead, can we go back to Phoenix? So it's like, there's really no love lost there, but then he just sort of pops up.
Playing dead. And from what I heard, doing a damn good job of it, too.
Is he a vampire hunter?
Oh, vampire hunter?
Yeah.
Oh, I've never heard that theory.
That's what I was thinking.
With the stakes that he's
But
making.
he knows about vampires, obviously.
All the damn vampires.
Is that what he
Well,
does?
do you know the other theory about him?
What's that?
That he is half vampire.
He is half vampire.
One theory, I think that perhaps even the Widow Swanson is a vampire.
Well, maybe there was no Widow Swanson. Johnson. Because you don't meet her.
He's going out killing vampires.
Yeah, or he's going out and getting away from his family while he is a vampire.
But the theory that he's half vampire and hasn't actually ever killed anyone.
He's killing all these animals.
The taxidermy. I mean, when he says, this is my root beer, don't anybody touch that.
That's interesting.
And if you look at the end, when he drinks the root beer, there's fucking blood in there. You watch that end clip, when he has that root beer, he drinks it, it looks like blood.
That's interesting. That is interesting.
So yeah.
I don't know, that's one for the theorists, isn't it?
I don't know if it was intended.
It's a fucking poignant bit at the end of the film. Now you mention it, what a line to put on the end of a film while he's doing that. It's like, ooh.
But it makes sense, and also because of the taxidermy and the animals, and that's why he's doing
He's half vampire. He's hunting vampires.
Oh, he's eating animals. He's drinking animal blood and then taxiderming.
He's trying to find the one that got him, the vampire that got him. That's what he's doing.
Oh, that's fucking mad.
So that's the one theory, which I think is pretty interesting.
While he's walking around the house, they sort of question him, don't they?
Hey, Grandpa, is it true that Santa Carla's the murder capital of the world?
And he just drops a great line. He's kind of like, well, if all the corpses around here were to stand up at once.
We'd have one hell of a population problem.
He doesn't have a lot of lines, but all of them are quite like setting things up.
So the next scene is heading down to the pier, isn't it, for their sort of first night in Santa Carla. And this next bit is coming out is fucking amazing.
Let's talk about the soundtrack.
It's only like a couple of seconds long, but fuck me, it's fucking iconic as fuck, man. So I think we're all thinking about the saxophone line.
Yeah, he's fucking buff. He's oiled up.
He's so oily.
He's fucking that saxophone.
Do you fucking know about this guy?
Tim Capello.
He's had a fucking mad career. So if you see him like a few years before this film, he was skinny as fuck because he was like into like heroin and fucking coke. He was an amazing musician. He can play like piano, fucking all sorts of shit. And just saxophone is just one of the instruments he can play.
He's the music man.
He is the music man, yes. He was touring with loads of sort of like bands. Peter Gabriel, he performed on 2 of Peter Gabriel's albums. He toured and played with Ringo Starr in this band, playing keyboards and sort of saxophone.
Did he play the drums?
He could play the drums, yeah. He could literally, he's an amazing musician. He can play like loads of stuff. He's a really good like songwriter and everything as well. Had like a massive sort of musical career.
I was trying to have a stab at Ringo Starr being up, not being able to play drums then, but
Ringo Starr's a great drummer.
Didn't come across.
I thought that you were going to ask if he came from far away and you were waiting for him to stop talking to say it. He was like, he's going to say it, he's going to say it.
Okay, what can he play? Piano. So he had like an overdose or whatever, and he decided after that it was a bit of a wake-up call for him that he was going to sort himself out. So he replaced doing heroin and coke with like going to the gym.
Doing steroids.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
What a life change.
Yeah, so he got fucking mad buff, and then he was touring with Tina Turner when she did her comeback tour in the 80s, when she was proper like 80s Tina Turner. Do you remember? Steamy windows. You don't need another.
Strong thighs.
Yes, and he used to play sax for her on tour. They just performed really well together, and then that's when he was like buff as fuck. So they hired him to write a song for this film, and he was late for the audition because he was sat in a car and he heard this song on the radio, and he got so like into the song.
He was in a trance.
He was in a trance. Yeah, he wanted to know who made it and what the song was. And so when he got to the audition, he was like really, he almost fucked it because he was like,
How long was the fucking song? It couldn't have been more than 2 minutes. I mean, they're pretty unforgiving on him arriving a minute and a half late.
So he played them the song that he'd written for the film, and they were like, yeah, that sucks, we don't like it. But they wanted to use him, so they said, oh, can you play the song that you'd heard in the radio? When you do that, if that song was that good, and that's why you were late. And that's the song that he sings in the film.
So he plagiarised it.
When he covers it, he does a cover version of it, yeah. How's the song
I still
going?
believe. You know, they did a Lost Boys comic, and his character plays like some integral part in one of the comics, but his name is The Believer.
Well, that look, what he's wearing and how he looks, nobody had any say with that. He just turned up. They were like, oh, you pick your own costume.
When we want.
And he went and got these fucking chains and all these fucking stuff and greased himself up. Covered himself in fucking oil.
Stronger, but it worked.
Well, they were like, is that what you're planning on wearing? He was like, yeah, this is completely on him. And they were like, okay. And then obviously, like with the lighting and everything, it just fucking...
It's a strong performance.
It's the strongest performance.
He's big dick energy, though. You would not get bigger dick energy than that.
Yeah, that's the biggest dick energy. That saxophone might as well be as big as his dick when he's doing that. It's the way he like moves his hips.
He thrusts so, doesn't he? Yeah, he's owning that fucking moment. Like
he would f*** anyone there. He would f*** everyone.
And everyone would climax at the same time. And he'd be like, I still believe.
Very sexual.
Some serious metrosexuality going on here.
I think it was the most sexually charged thing I've ever seen. It was all the fucking greased up. Man, it'd be such a good Halloween outfit for someone to do.
You'd have to be pretty buff to pull it off.
Yeah.
Better if you're massive.
You just look like a shit WCW wrestler or something though. You look like some fucking gimp in fucking tights. With beer belly hanging over your fucking tights.
He does look like a wrestler.
He does.
He does, and it was only in a couple of other things. He was in Miami Vice in a couple of episodes.
Did he play the sax in that as well?
No, during the like Hollywood sort of muscle man time, because his bit in Lost Boys got really well known, so they were trying to like utilise him in something. I think he did do a film and it was shit.
Just bad fucking management.
Interestingly, a lot of his musical career went to do loads of music after this. Kind of forgot about Lost Boys, and it's only been in like the last sort of 10 years that actually this bit's kind of become sort of meme and sort of iconic. But apparently his career's gone.
Good for him. So they're down on the boardwalk, aren't they? And this is where Michael sort of first sees Star.
She's a billionaire now.
How come?
Well, she was kind of doing bit parts in Hollywood, whatever. She got together with this guy, and she was kind of like the breadwinner. And then he started his company. It was like some finance shit. I don't know. And their company went fucking massive, and they're billionaires.
No way.
Yeah.
There's a classic 80s courtship here, isn't there? Where
He'll stare at her.
yeah, and then follows her.
Yeah.
Creepy.
But she's like a siren, isn't she? She's like trying to get people like him to follow him so she can.
Well, he's supposed to be her first kill, isn't he?
Yeah.
So-
So I thought she's flashing her shit around, and she was like, well, actually, she's like luring him in.
Yeah, she's just a really hot girl who's like flashing her eyes at him and getting him to sort of try and follow her. Sam is with Michael at this point, and he's kind of like, what are you doing? Oh, you're following that girl, aren't you? And he's like, haven't you got anything better to do?
Actually, I do.
And he walks into...
Atlantis Comics, yeah, which is...
He's wearing some fantastic outfits, Sam.
He
Isn't
fucking is.
Jesus Christ.
Crazy,
mad
crazy
shirts
suit and
and-
shit.
yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know the theory about Sam?
Oh, is this the one with Rob Lowe on his?
Yeah.
I did see that. Yeah.
So there's a theory that Sam's actually gay. So he's these little things. He got his ear pierced. The way they dressed him was kind of a bit more flamboyant.
Well, I'm thinking everyone had their fucking ears pierced. Toby had both ears pierced.
Yeah. But specifically in his bedroom.
I saw that poster of that guy.
There's a poster of Rob Lowe on his closet.
It's like with a sort
And
of crop top on.
Yeah, and it's kind of like supposed to insinuate in the closet. Obviously, he doesn't really change the character at all. But Joel
They
Schumacher.
fucking... But hang on, listen.
Good luck to him, Al. Good luck to him.
Listen.
If that's what he wants, that's fine.
I've got such a fucking...
Sorry, Tom.
Yeah, I've got such a poignant point here. I've never made this fucking connection, but there's that whole fucking bit in the film where his mum says...
He never believed in the closet monster.
Yeah. So I think it's there. There's clues.
Maybe.
I've never fucking known that little myth, so that falls into place a little bit.
So he goes into Atlantis Comics, which you can still go into in Real Santa Cruz. And in there, he meets two characters who will be very poignant through the whole film.
Unnecessarily hostile.
For the Frog Brothers.
They don't take any shit.
They
don't trust anybody.
You should be running a fucking business then because they're not going to be.
They're not
They're not
interested.
running that business very well.
They're running it for their parents who
Is that their
didn't
parents who are like asleep next to
fucking
the TV?
bathed all the
Is
time.
that their parents?
If you watch the credits, they get credited, and it's the Frog parents. And I'm like, who the fuck is that? Then? And it's like they're the only two people who I don't know in the film.
Yeah.
Well, when they cast a lot of the people for it, I think they used like random people from the town, and they put out casting calls for like people who look like punks.
They look
and
like
all that
they'd
sort
been
of
to a
stuff.
fancy dress shop and just fucking got clip-on beards that you wear like a
but
pair of glasses.
one of them was to Extreme Stoner,
Oh,
which I assume must have been those two that were against that TV screen.
That makes sense. And the way Corey Feldman delivers every line, so Joel Schumacher said to him, I want you to
Watch Rambo.
Watch Rambo. And if you look at it, he is kind of trying to deliver it like Stallone.
Yeah, later on in the film, there's a couple where he's like doing, I thought it was doing an impression of Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah, so it's kind of like the Frog Brothers are just like two fucking young teenage twats who watch a load of action films, but they happen to live in a place where there is real vampires, isn't there? So
Yeah.
they're just trying to like sort of bluff their way through
Well,
it.
it turns out they're wise to it though, aren't they? So they don't really trust anybody.
Corey Farmer's only 16 in this as well.
Is he fucking hell?
Yeah.
Do you know he turned up to set and smashed on coke from the night before? He'd been up all night and he had hardly any sleep. And he was fucking 16 and he kept like sort of falling asleep like on set, and then Joel Schumacher fired him and then he came back and he said, I'm really fucking sorry, it's such a stupid thing to do. I'll work twice as hard for the rest of the film. And then Joel Schumacher said, alright, yeah, we'll let you back in. And he did, and he didn't fuck up again.
He's fucking brilliant, Corey Feldman. He's been in some fucking serious legal shit, hasn't he?
He's fucking mad now.
He's fucking mad. Like Goonies, Gremlins,
Well, this Stand By Me, fucking The Burbs.
Friday the 13th Part 4.
I didn't realise as well.
Oh, he's Donatello.
Yeah, he did the voice of Donatello.
Yeah.
Ascension Millennium, that music
That's
song.
what
Have
it
you ever
is.
seen that? The video's done in a oneer.
Oh,
It's so bad.
yeah. There's
He's gone mad.
Yeah.
There's a version of that floating about off a TV show, and there's some dude wearing like some massive platform shoes and hot pants, and that's it. And he's like, "Go, Corey, go!" Whatever, like, and he's doing that mad.
I don't know if I've seen
shuffle.
that.
Oh, it's fucking terrible. It's terrible.
Yeah. So anyway, the Frog Brothers introduced the vampire comic pretty much straight away to Sam.
Could save your life.
There's something about this I wanted to know. Actually, I'm looking for a Batman number 14.
That's a very serious book, man.
Only 5 in existence.
And then he says 4, actually. But I'm always looking out for the other 3.
He's making out he's already got one.
I told them we already got one.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Right, he's making a joke.
Yeah, I don't think he would have a copy of Batman 14.
Right, okay, I never understood that.
What's so special about Batman 14?
Well, if it's the 14th ever issue of Batman, that'd be going way back to like the fucking 1930s, wouldn't it? So that'd be fucking worth a shitload. Even in 87, I would have thought.
But then Sam starts to rearrange their comics and tells them where everything should be and why it shouldn't be in certain places. And I think, even though they never show it to start with, I think he gets a little bit of respect there.
Yeah.
Where the hell are you from? Krypton?
They still want to be a to him, but it's a little bit like, he knows his shit. They then give him that comic.
Kill all vampires.
Yeah.
But then at the same time that this is going on, his mum is introduced to a nice guy called Max who runs a video store, and she goes in looking for a job.
She's walking down the boardwalk and the camera pans across a woman who's putting up a missing poster, and it's the security guard from the fairground. And it's just like, you see the guy's face clearly there. I thought that was kind of a little nod.
Oh yes, and we see loads of missing posters and stuff throughout the Santa Card.
Yeah.
And Max has got a fucking luminous pink shirt on and a black and white check
sports jacket. He is Mr. fucking 80s.
Oh
he
God,
is. Shoulder pads.
It's a fucking mad 80s.
They're strong, innit?
They are.
Yeah. He's got a very strong 80s look. So while that's going on, Michael is still in pursuit of Star. I think he's caught back up with Sam now at this point. Star gets onto a motorbike with Keith Sutherland.
David.
Yeah, Michael's followed her back thinking she's done her job. She's led her back to the group, hasn't he? And he thinks he's in. And it turns out it's a bit like, if you want to race us.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, my bike can't be yours. And he's like, oh, you don't have to beat me, Michael. You just have to keep up. And then they sort of drive off. So then we have the whole bike race scene. And that's fucking awesome, man. With them driving the bikes.
Yeah, what's the fucking song?
Lost in the Shadows.
Lost in the Shadows. Fucking great.
Yeah, fucking awesome song. Awesome
Lou
scene.
Graham.
So Star's brought him back here to be her first kill. Why did they start trying to recruit him then? And they're like, oh, he's alright actually.
Because he's got balls.
So before they get to their cave, they're driving, aren't they? You've got the bit where it's all misty and they're clearly like not moving, but they're talking to each other on the bikes. And then it's like on the cliff edge.
It doesn't matter to them if he's racing them and he falls off or comes off his bike. They'll just catch him and take him down anyway.
But they decide they're going to recruit him instead.
Don't know if they're going to recruit him. I think it's.
Well, they do recruit him.
Yeah, no, they do. But I said at the time when they're racing, I think it's just a bit of a. Doesn't matter if he dies or lives, and when he lives, it's like
they're kind of luring him out into the middle of nowhere where they can fucking kill him.
Yeah,
potentially.
So it's win-win.
I think they like the cut of his jib.
I don't think they're trying to recruit him. I just think when he races, they're like, let's see what he can do for the evening.
Yeah,
and then kill him anyway if we don't like him.
So they take them down to their underground lair, which is this very awesome sort of caved-in sort of hotel thing. It's a wicked set. That.
Collapsed in the.
It's fucking cool, baby.
The big one,
1906. How old do you think they are? Those vampires? Do you think they're new, or do you think they're from then?
Some of them are new, obviously, but I think David and Max are like from 1908. Wasn't there a cut bit or something where you saw like a picture of Max in the hotel? They did like a shine in.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I don't necessarily disagree with you, but when I was watching it, I saw this in a sort of different way. There's a bit where Max, after he speaks to Lucy in the video store, he's walking back up his pathway, and you hear this like the music pipes up, and then a fucking bat, like a kite, hits him in the face.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, like the Lost Boys in Peter Pan, the one thing they want is like a mother. I think the Lost Boys in this one need a father. So
but I think they're trying to overthrow him.
They recruit him.
No, he's the head vampire.
At the end, but I think...
No, from the beginning.
Really?
He would have turned them into vampires.
Okay.
I think in one of the comic books, isn't it like Max is fucking Dracula's brother? And he's like...
I'm not getting into comic book shit.
That's fast.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think he's Dracula's brother.
So he recruited him, but how long ago? That's it, isn't it? And why? Did he just want sons or
It's
something?
got to be to do with that hotel for 100 years.
Maybe.
Why did they fling a bat at him?
They're just being naughty, aren't they?
Yeah.
And I go and fucking chuck this kite at Dad.
He's their dad. He's the head vampire, and they're like the naughty.
Why does he look so scared?
For the camera, so I'm like, oh.
Okay.
If he'd have been like, it would have spoiled the ending.
That is what makes me wonder whether he was the head vampire all along.
No, why would he suddenly become the head vampire at the end?
If they recruited him, he wouldn't be the head vampire, would he?
Well, I don't know. This is my own years of thinking about it. Is like I figured there would have been a way to make him more potent because they need a father figure.
If you turn someone into a vampire, you're like the head vampire.
Yeah, I understand that.
You didn't decide that they're the head vampire.
No, right, then you're the head vampire.
Yeah, no.
Let's have a vote.
And then suddenly you become really
It's
powerful.
the new guy Max, who runs a video store.
Like I said, I've never been in favour of one or the other, but I just thought that was a pivotal point. I thought I'd float the theory.
It's like you watched a slightly different film.
No, I understand what everybody's saying. I agree.
Okay, so they go down to their underground air, which we said is really cool.
So check it out, Mikey.
All the way through the film, all of the vampires say Michael unnecessarily.
Michael. It's blood.
Michael.
Michael.
It's said like 111 times,
Is it?
I think, in the films. And the word Michael's
They're saying it all the fucking time. They say it after every sentence. They're just saying it sometimes. They're just saying Michael.
And then we cut back to see Sam at home. He's just read the vampire comic and sort of like freaked himself out
He's just a brick.
a bit, hasn't he?
He's fucking flanged.
He was. But then you have the Rob Lowe closet thing that we mentioned earlier. So then we cut back to the guys and they're having a Chinese.
There were one of those fucking boxes which you never had in it. We never had in England, and it looked really exciting having Chinese in America. It was like, oh fucking hell.
Well, I remember when we did have a Chinese in America, some of it came in that.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to keep those?
Yeah, they are fucking cool.
It's when they're eating that Chinese, talking about the Michael chant. That's the one bit of fucking Twisted Sister guy.
Dwayne.
He's got his mouth full of rice and he's like, Michael. It's like fucking food all. It's like, come on, man. Swallow then
They got him
chant.
high as well, didn't they? They got him high before they ate. They passed him a little appetizer.
Oh, was there a joint in there, was there?
Yeah, that's right. An appetizer, yeah.
Yeah, there is at the beginning as well when they first meet their granddad.
Oh, he smoked, yeah.
And they look at the plants that are at the window and they sort of like look at each other and like.
Yeah.
California as well, isn't it?
Yeah, well, that's it. It grows there, doesn't it? And it is a bit that way in California. There's a thing in Chinese culture as well. If you pass somebody food with chopsticks already in it, it's like a symbol of death, or they're going to die. It's like bad luck or something. Because I think one of the vampires gives David the pot with the 2 sticks up. But then also, when he dies at the end, when he gets impaled, spoilers, he's impaled with 2 sticks as well. So maybe it's connected or anything. So then we have obviously the classic
Maggots, Michael. You're eating maggots. How do they taste?
So, what magic powers have they got?
flight.
Yeah.
They can transform.
Telepathy or
making
fucking
him
some
see
sort of
shit.
it's weird, isn't it? But hypnosis or something. Yeah, vampires. Dracula used to hypnotise his brides, didn't he? So yeah, maybe it's some sort of trance thing.
Some sort of shared hallucination.
Well, they've got an odd sort of law because obviously that one death, it wasn't a wooden stake.
Well,
it was an antler.
But there was an idea that David hadn't died there because he was supposed to potentially going to be in a sequel, and that's why he didn't fucking blow up or anything.
I haven't seen any of the sequels, like The Tribe or whatever.
Oh god,
Fuck those.
the second Lost Boy film is one of the fucking worst films I've ever seen.
Really?
It's so bad. It's so bad. It came out in like 2008 or something.
Quite recent, yeah.
I've been quite vocal on the fact that I refuse to acknowledge any film past the first one.
Oh,
well, there's apparently the connecting comic they did. David isn't dead. He goes and makes the vampire out of that or something. He bites him. So anyway, we have the maggot scene where they use some of their sort of mystical vampire powers. That was one of the scenes I remember most strongly.
The maggots in this thing I can handle, but the worms that he tells him he's going to eat next, it's like slithering over each other. It's like, oh god. Oh,
yeah.
You get a headache just thinking about it.
Really iconic little scene. And then this goes straight into Get Away.
It's just for the jizz. Everyone's jizzed in it. Don't drink it. It's jizz.
It's a fucking fancy
Did you watch?
It is fancy, yeah.
The Toss Boys.
And when he's drinking it, it's a bit sexy when he's drinking it. And his face is
Poor old Mike.
He's deep throating the bottle as he's putting it.
Joking on it.
Fancy bottle, fancy.
But yeah, you feel sorry for Michael because they're obviously all in on something he doesn't know about. And he's trying to be cool and trying to fit in, and he's really trying, and it's like, oh bless him, he's really out of his depth.
The star says to him, "You don't have to drink it. It's blood. It's David's blood."
Yeah, whatever.
And he looks at him and he's like, yeah. But he's obviously hesitant about something, but he has a swig, and then he does that really sort of like puts his tongue between his lips. It's like, ugh.
I'd gone to this party once, and there was loads of people that didn't know, and everyone was like, let's drink out of this fucking 2-litre bottle of cider. Everyone was passing it around between like these 4 or 5 people, and my turn came and I was drinking it, and I could see as it was going down, it was like a piece of fucking mashed potato or something. Something that had come out of someone's mouth, and it was too late. It was going down as I was drinking it, and I was like, whoa. But I couldn't make a scene because I was in this party with fucking nobody I knew. It was fucking gross.
Oh, that's fucking disgusting.
It was.
Oh man. I think as a kid you'd watch this and think, yeah, that's what I imagine what one of those gangs would get up to shit like that.
Get into some fucking cellar and drink blood.
Yeah, driving on motorbikes and then fucking. They sent one for a Chinese. Yeah, they fucking did. So they go queue up for a fucking Chinese.
I don't know. He would have gone to the counter and used some mystical powers to fucking.
I think he probably waited outside the Chinese and fucking took it off somebody else.
Killed the delivery driver.
Or he could have just given the illusion he'd given him a load of money. Like, there you go, and get my food.
A deceptive vampire.
Yeah.
Yeah. When he drinks the blood, the whole celebration, he's like, Michael. It turns out that David sat in a trolley and he manages to push him around in a cave. There's like good level floors in that cave.
Yeah. True level, bitch.
He really has gone sort of like all in. That's like his second night there. And he's like smoking weed with these people he doesn't know, eating maggots and drinking blood. And then obviously after he's coming up when they get to a bridge or whatever. But like that's his like second night. And he's gone fucking hell for leather.
Well, I mean, his mum and dad have just divorced, haven't they?
And with everyone he could have spoke to in that entire place.
And also, now we've brought up hypnosis, you do wonder whether his original thing was he started following Star and she kept glancing at him and he was like side-eyeing her. So
Maybe it was.
Well, I reckon she might have been projecting some kind of power to get him to follow
That's
her.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So maybe he was kind of always half in anyway and it was just a final push.
So after this we go to the scene on the bridge, which is probably got some of the most iconic imagery from the things used on a lot of the posters, isn't it? And stuff. It's pretty cool. In Santa Cruz, when you're on the pier, you get to the end of it And at the end of it, literally, is that fucking bridge. But it's not that bridge. It looks just like it. But the bridge they filmed it on is something like 5 hours away.
It's called the Iron Horse Trailhead Trestle Bridge.
Yeah.
A trestle bridge we've come across in Rambo, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's one of those latticed kind of bridges. And it's on Interstate 5 on the Magic Mountain Parkway, 40 miles north of LA.
But there is one right next to the pier in Santa Cruz, and it looks just like it.
Did you hang off it?
Fuck no, man. The thing is, the one there is like 10-foot drop and it's just the ground.
You've broken your ankles.
Yeah, your feet would have really burned like when you landed. Oh, remember knees? Anyway,
it's a tuck and roll in it when you land. Like a kung fu expert. Like.
Bungee jumping.
10 foot. Off an elastic band.
Real short.
The bungee cord would be like a foot.
Yeah.
Just be like laces.
You just fucking slap
That's not
against
much
the
of a
side of the bridge.
bungee.
Just tie your laces around the bottom and jump down.
Just be able to touch the floor.
That with your fingertips. That's how
Sorry, that's what was underneath that mist. It was literally like just going there. They weren't flying or anything. They just lay on the floor.
A bit of deadly vipers.
Alligators, yeah.
So yeah, iconic scene where they all jump through and Michael's holding on. Now, at this point, he doesn't know they're fucking vampires.
Yeah.
But basically, what the fuck have I got myself into?
But he's still trying to be cool here as
And
well.
slightly high.
But this is
pissed.
And yeah, where I've got to go back to the hypnosis again because you know, you're seriously easily led.
People do shit like this, though, don't they? Don't be for shits and giggles. Like,
Yeah, I suppose.
Yes, I suppose.
Yeah, no, literally, people jump off the Vicky Bridge all the time.
yeah, well, they do.
And it'd be like, well, he did it, so if he did it, would you do it?
What
So
I like though, if they weren't vampires and you had no sort of like knock on, the next morning you'd be like, fuck me.
We had a mad night.
It's like it's fucking
nuts.
Who the fuck brought me out?
Fucking
He
guy
fell
playing
from the sky
saxophone
onto his bed.
He did. Before we knew they were vampires, how do you think he was going to get? How would you get up from that position anyway? I mean, unless you were real fucking strong.
That's what I mean, he was all in, wasn't he? He was all in.
You'd never get him back up, would you?
You'd be like, oh! Especially if you're a fucking real cane.
Yeah.
Like, a bit pissed.
I was trying to think what I'd do. All I could think was, could I swing my legs high enough?
It's like a fucking gymnast on the bars.
Yeah, if I start swinging, could I,
You just swing a fly.
could I like propel myself back up like through the hole that they fell through?
That's using the last of your energy to do that as well, though, isn't it? It's like,
Because I think it was behind him, so you'd have to do it on the backward stroke of the swing.
It's just not happening.
I think you got enough momentum up. You might be able to shoot backwards up.
17 or 21, you ain't doing that unless you're some sort of parkour expert.
Yeah, you want to be fit for that. Anyway, so he drops, and then he's like, whoa, floating.
Well, they're hanging there first, aren't they? And the train comes past.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah,
great when they're all reacting to that, and then they all start dropping.
They all
But
start
you do have
falling.
you do have that moment when the train passes, and then you hear them, and he's like, "Oh, you know, they're down there somewhere."
Yeah. And so then when he finally lets go, we see him sort of fall, and he starts screaming, and he kind of stops and sort of looks around and he's fucking screaming again. And then he lands on his bed.
Hell of a shot.
Yeah.
What happened there?
He flew all of the way around the planet. So by the time he got around, it was then daylight and then fell.
I think.
Into his bedroom window.
Yeah,
I think
flew
it was
in.
like he blacked out para, didn't he? And then like staggered home or whatever.
They probably took him home, didn't they? So then we have him sort of waking up, and this is kind of where it's like a bit of a metaphor for drugs, isn't it? Really, I think the way they sort of play it, it's a bit like he's on a massive come down for the rest of the film now,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah, no, her mum rings him up, and Sam's like, wakes Michael up, going, "Your mum's on the phone." She's like, "Oh, pass me my glasses." So we get the idea that he's a bit sensitive to daylight now. She's like, "Oh, my boss has asked me out for dinner. Can you look after Sam?" He's like, "He doesn't need a babysitter." And then he's like, "Yeah, all right, fuck it, go for your meal."
So we have a bit of the brothers' relationship again, and their relationship is fucking great in this, the way that it's played. And
So Grandpa's getting ready to go out for a night, isn't he?
Hey, anything around here that might pass for aftershave?
oh
He's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
He's like, "How about some Windex, Grandpa?" It's like fucking window cleaner.
Well, that's what I reckon. He's playing some part of Small Fool, and he's going to go out. He's like, bye, and then goes out, fucking killing vampires.
See, it would be so interesting to know if that
Doing
was
a
right,
yoga.
but I don't look at the comics, and I'm certainly not watching the sequels because I know that shit.
No, I don't think any of that is. That's just like sort of fan.
So there's a gap in the market for a fucking decent real sequel.
Yeah, man.
You hear the iconic horn here of his car. Yeah, that's fucking great.
And then he makes Sam go for a bath, doesn't he? And while Sam's having his...
Sam knows how to fucking party in that bath.
He's having a great time.
He looks at me. He's wow, so much fun in that bath. I've never had that much fun in the bath.
We're in 1987 and he's still singing like a rock and roll banger.
People used to have a lot of fun in bath. There's a lot of 80s and 90s films, and someone's having a bath for a show, and they're having a fucking great time.
Yakety yak, yakety yak. Don't talk back.
Singing a song,
A lot
like
of
Home
bubbles.
Alone.
More bubbles than water.
Unnecessary amount of bubbles.
They do have a great time in the bath.
I think next to Sam having his bath will be Frank in the shower in Home Alone 2.
Oh, we're cooking, Frankie! Another great needle drop, and they've got
Lonely Boy.
That's the rock and roll banger that I was on about that he sings, and it's still 30 years earlier than 87.
Yeah, it's a great song. And obviously Michael starts to like get a lust for blood. And so he heads towards the bath and opens the door. But luckily, Nanook, Sam's dog, saves the day and bites Michael because he can sense that he's
But Sam's kind of
the
washing his
undead.
shampoo off, isn't he? So he's under the water when Michael bursts in. The dog takes him out. He hears the commotion because the dog pushes him down the stairs, and Sam suddenly bursts out the water as if like, what the fuck's going on? So he doesn't know exactly what's happened yet.
So when he confronts Michael, he asks what he did, and he looks in the reflection in the mirror and he sees that he's translucent.
Why are his clothes translucent as well? I want to know.
Oh, that's picky.
They're very magical beings, aren't they, in this?
Are they so magical they can make your clothes transparent?
There's precedent for this, isn't there? Because Dracula in Monster Squad also had power over his clothes as well.
He
didn't
did.
So I think maybe it is a vampire thing.
You reckon it affects immediately in your...
In your aura, maybe.
Yeah.
There's no real sort of science behind it, I don't think. And he delivers one of my favourite lines of film. You're a goddamn shit-sucking vampire!
Oh, you wait till Mom finds out, buddy.
And he like, how's it going? It's fucking great.
Thankfully, I know the film as well as I do, but the DVD I watched tonight has not got that line in it.
Well, goddamn shit-sucking vampire?
Yeah, it's cut out of an official DVD.
What the fuck?
Because when that bit came up, I was like, oh, they've cut it out of the film. I don't know if I bought an ex-rental, but why the fuck...
Were you watching Lost Boys 2?
He fell asleep, I reckon. If his clothes got more transparent than his body, you'd be able to see his dick. So if they accidentally got them more transparent...
If he focused his attention on the clothes rather than his body, he could just make his clothes disappear. So he'd always be naked in the mirror.
If he wanted to.
What a mirror.
So they spilt milk on the floor, haven't they? And then
Oh,
you
yeah.
see Laddie's photo is like the missing kid on the milk
Oh,
carton.
yeah, the kid from the gang. You see
That's
him on
fucking
there.
cool.
When Michael wakes up and he floats up and he's woken by touching the ceiling, you think, okay, that's a great reversal or something, but he does that thing where he's like got stubble and he's like, shh, and he turns his face across the floorboard. I just think, how have they got him there? Because you don't see any strings or wires or anything, but it's a really good effect of floating up. Really believable.
So he goes into his bedroom and he calls the Frog Brothers. Doesn't he try and get some advice off them?
Get yourself a good sharp stake and drive it right through his heart.
Yeah.
And he's like, I can't do that. He's like, basically, if my brother's a vampire, he's only half.
You better get yourself a garlic t-shirt, buddy.
And then they hang up, so it's just him and Michael. But is he already out the window? He's like, where are you, the flying nun?
And then he ends up speaking to his mum on the phone, and then obviously, Michael's outside the window,
That's right.
which is where he says, "Oh, don't listen to him." He's kind of on the phone as he's almost floating
That's a
away.
fucking serious scream going on down that phone. She sat there and she's like, literally, who's screaming? And he's like, don't listen to him. He's like, well, you're screaming. It's like, fuck, you'd be terrified if you got that phone call.
So she runs away from her date to get home because she's worried the boys are sort of killing each other. But by that point, Michael like pleads with his brother, and obviously with their brotherly love, he sort of gives in. They
Lets
sort
him
of
in the
agree.
window, doesn't he?
Yeah, and
Have a cuddle.
they have a bit of a cuddle and sort
So you
of.
see they both got earrings. It's like weird how fast that dated, having an earring. It was like it went up until like the 90s, and then it was like, no.
You don't see many guys with studs in their hair anymore, do you?
No.
Studs, fucking no chance.
Yeah, Tyrese looked like a pirate because he had two big hoops.
Big.
Right side
The
first,
weird
but-
brackets.
Yeah, I can't even say I was a trendsetter. I was a fashion victim then. Yeah.
Yeah, then the mum comes back and she's like, "What's going on?" And he's like, "Oh, I read a comic and I got a bit scared or whatever."
I'm not sold on that. One of my criticisms is that she comes back and she goes, "Where's Michael?" And he goes, "You went to bed early." It's like, if you just come home because your kids were screaming down the phone at you, you'd be like, "I want to speak to him. Get him down here."
Yeah.
So I think he got away a bit easy with that one.
Their mum's a bit pissed off because her date was ruined or whatever. And then his mum's in bed and sort of Sam gets in and he's got his dressing going on and underneath it he's got like a shitload of garlic around his neck, like the Frog Brothers. I thought that was quite cool, that bit.
Yeah.
To make me laugh.
Yeah, this timing's perfect. She's unwrapping it and then she's like, "Have you been eating pizza?" And he's like, does it back up? He's like, nope.
So the next day, Michael goes to see Star and they get it on.
She's after that D. Do you reckon that's how they got Star with Laddie?
They got Laddie to be like a companion for Star.
Oh, right,
For when
okay.
they're out doing their gang shit.
It's like Interview with a Vampire, isn't it? Don't they get... Not Kirsten Dunst. Is it Kirsten?
It is
Kirsten Dunst,
Dunst,
she's a
yeah.
little girl in it. Yeah.
Doesn't Tom Cruise get her just to be like a mate, like a friend? Like
Yeah. Forever. I've watched that for years, that one.
that's a fucking good film. That is.
Yeah, well, my catch is a good ending. Anyway, they get it on, and then Michael goes back home to his mum, and this is where it really is like a metaphor for sort of drugs. He walks in with his leather jacket on, doesn't he, and his sort of shades on, and him and his mum are kind of growing apart or whatever.
It's only been like 2 days.
Yeah, it's just
He looks badass, doesn't he? He's done something like he's greased the side of his head
He
as
won't,
well.
he won't look at her, will he?
So then Mum goes to drop something off at Max, her boss's house.
Yeah, she goes to
he's got-
apologise for running out on their date.
That's it, and it's just when Sam's reading the comic book
Hounds
Destroy
of
All
Hell.
Vampires, and in there's about the Hounds of Hell, and that's when,
How do you create a Hound of Hell? Is it like a demon, or is he bit a dog, or is he like using some kind of magic over a dog, or is he just a like really good dog trainer?
I think it's magic. I think he's good. Like Caesar Marion or whatever.
Want a demon dog to watch while you sleep?
Fucking that Caesar Malone dude.
Yeah.
Is it like a familiar?
Yeah, I think so. He's got like a magical control.
You think he's conjured?
You wouldn't
What,
want to
into
conjure a dog,
into
like-
reality?
No, I mean like a familiar is like a demon or something that's taken a different shape, isn't it?
Maybe. I mean,
I don't know
there's a
about
religious,
demons in this now.
but there's a religious connection, isn't it? Because like the holy water works, so
Yeah.
there is definitely like, there's a god.
Isn't it Cerberus as well, which is the guardian of Hades?
Yes,
that's
yeah.
right.
Yeah, but he's busy guarding Hades.
Or has he just got a spell over a dog?
Is it that dog from fucking The Thing, sprayed white?
Well, do you know what? I was hoping that Nanook would be the dog from the Thing, but it wasn't.
No, he's
it
busy.
Could be related though. Could be
his brother. Yeah.
He was in Dr. Quinn.
Oh, fucking hell.
What Nanook was?
Yeah,
What was
Nanook
Nanook's real name?
Dogwatch.
Cody.
Cody. He looks like a Cody.
Strong
doesn't he?
name for a dog. He looks like he'd have like a little neckerchief on when he was at home.
He looks like he'd be wandering around, knocking shit over with his fucking tail. Be like, Cody! Cody! He's like, knock the fucking ashtray off the table or some shit.
Chewing on a jumbo bone.
So Sam sort of thinks, yes, Max is the head vampire. And so he goes to the Frog Brothers with this information to tell them that, he believes that Max is the head vampire.
Strange connection, actually, how he gets to Max. All of this weird stuff started to happen when Mum started working there or something.
Max's dog that attacked me.
Because the dogs tried to smash through the fucking gate together, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Max doesn't come to the video shop until it's late at night. Very tenuous.
Yeah.
And so the next scene, we are at Michael and Sam's house, and Max is coming round for dinner that night, and Michael's getting ready to go out and get some, I imagine, off Star. He wants to see Star and, get some of that sweet
Good.
vampire puss, like.
Keeps him coming back.
Out of all the monsters, vampires are probably the only one you want to have sex with. There's not many monsters you would actually want to bang, is there?
Dusk Till Dawn put pay to that, didn't it? It was,
Some people might say mummies.
Frankenstein. You're a mummy fucker.
You'd never say it'd be on dry, wouldn't it?
Banging Frankenstein. His dick would be massive.
Frankenstein's bride's alright. If you
It'd be like an arm. If you had access to it, you put an arm on it instead of his dick.
Like a baby's arm.
Just an arm.
Just a little hand at the end.
Frankenstein. His dick is an arm.
Put an arm and then instead of fingers, just all dicks.
5 dicks.
5 dicks.
5 dicks on one massive dick arm.
I mean, Frankenstein could have done that, couldn't he? He could have done what he wanted.
Edward Scissorhands, then.
Anyway, Max comes around for dinner, and Michael's leaving the house as Max knocks on the door. And Max like, well, if you're the man of the house, Michael, you invite me in. And Michael's like,
You're invited.
Yeah.
And he's like, you must be Max. He's like, seriously fronting with him.
but really fucked up. Everything else from there on in the house with Max is his fault.
Yeah.
When Max comes into the house, Grandpa's like,
he's watching him, isn't he?
Has he clocked him then? He's like, fucking vampire.
I think so, because they do set it up twice. There's 2 shots of him watching,
Yeah,
isn't there?
he's like, that's why I started to think he's fucking vampire hunter.
So Max gets invited into the house, and the mum is introducing Max to Sam when we realise that Sam has also invited the Frog Brothers for dinner. And their original names, which I only made the connection this time, is Edgar and Allan. Edgar and Allan Poe. So then they have the dinner, and we have the raw garlic instead of Parmesan cheese when we realise the boys are sort of testing them out.
This is quite funny because they act all hard because they've both got deep voices. You believe they're a bit older than they are, but this is what kids would do. Their elaborate plan is to grate garlic, have a mirror ready with a light,
And chuck fucking water all over him.
Yeah, it's got a great set of plans, like, you know what I mean?
I bet you hate it, don't you?
It's great, this scene. It's real funny. It's one of the ones I remember.
It is. Until the fucking light goes off, he's like, ah! He fucking would as well.
You know the bit that one Frog Brother puts the candle out with his fingers?
Yeah.
They told him to do that. We didn't realise he had to lick his fingers first or dip them in water. So the first time he does it, he really blistered his fucking fingers. And then he had to do it again and again after. So yeah, he said he's actually in quite a lot of pain when he does that. So Michael goes to find Star, and he finds David, and he's been like, where's Star? But David's like, come with me. And so they go on the bikes and they drive up to a tree.
Yeah, this is Michael's night, isn't it? They've decided now.
Michael Knight. Fucking hell. Didn't know the Hoff made a little
Red
cameo.
light in the background.
This is the sort of shit that the Hoff would get up to. You would have heard about a case of Baywatch Nights and gone and fucking taking these vampires on. So David and Michael and the gang head up to this tree, and it's a fucking cool shot of all of them in the tree because they do look like bats the way.
This is the bit that scared me the first time I watched it, I think.
I forgot how gory this next bit actually was.
It's quite scary, isn't it?
One of
when
the
they bites
first-
his head
and rips his
yes.
scalp.
Yeah, and then when they're burning him and stuff, it's like
I agree. That's the 2 bits that fucking made me was like, ooh.
If this film wasn't as gory as it is, it'd be nowhere near as good. It would be a bit like Twilight-y and a bit shit.
It's like 80s gore, isn't it?
Yeah, we
So
talk
it would have
about
been-
a film having a burst, its middle bit, and it's kind of like, this is the big reveal.
It's the first time you see the vampires doing their thing,
it's
isn't
what
it?
you find out that they're capable of, and I think that after this, it does get mildly less gory, but
Yeah.
I think this is the big spend, isn't it? It did its job.
And I think I remember as a kid, because I'd never seen vampires be like that before. There's not many films. I mean, they're a bit like that in
It's like Bloodlust,
Dusk Till
isn't
Dawn.
it?
Do you know what I mean? Where they're ripping people apart.
Oh, what's that fucking...
Near Dark.
Near
Near
Dark.
Dark. Is that the one in...
That was released same year as this. Yeah, with Lance Hendrickson and Bill Paxton. And
Yeah, it's all fucking in that snow place.
20 Days a Night.
Is that what
That's-
it is?
yeah,
That's
that's
fucking
good.
brilliant.
Yeah, that's good.
fucking
That's
brilliant.
good, yeah.
That's
First-
brutal.
It is, 'cause this is the first time I'd ever seen brutal vampires. Vampires always been like 2 little bite marks on the neck.
Yeah.
And that was it. Do you know what I mean?
When
a
they
bit-
change, they look scary as well. Alex Winter looks the scariest out of them, I reckon.
This is where you'll hear Run DMC, isn't it?
Yes, you hear Walt's wage.
Which I used to think for years when I was a kid was called rock and rave. And also, again, you still don't see them fly in this, which is great because it still keeps you wanting to see it, but the camera sort of zooms away from the tree, and you just hear that. But yeah, that's great because you still don't see it, but then they're just all over these people all of a sudden.
Those people are having a hell of a party. They're like...
Yeah, I remember there being a set of boobs in this bit, but it wasn't. I don't know, or maybe I'm thinking of another scene in front of a fire. Maybe
it's a very similar setup to Police Academy, where there are loads of tits and they're dancing in front of a fire.
Yeah, maybe that's what I remembered. But yeah, in regards to the makeup, the original test, they pushed it like way more, the makeup, and it was like a lot more like Dusk Till Dawn, a bit more sort of full on.
This was a good amount, wasn't it?
He wanted it so they still look sort of attractive.
Like Alex went to bit, she looks at him, he's like, "Hi, Michael," but it's like his face is like, you know, they've just done a perfect amount.
Yeah, and the head bite specifically, that was the bit that used to freak me out as a kid.
Yeah.
It'd be such an awkward place to bite.
It's on the back of someone's head.
Yeah.
I don't know what they've done with the sound effects there, whether they've mutated the screams or whether they've like put different screams over it, but it sounds like chaos. It would be. There's no sugarcoating that. It's fucking horrible.
But then Michael's all like, no!
He's resisting, isn't he? He doesn't want to do it.
He doesn't like it. He's still got a bit of a conscience. And then they sort of come over and they're kind of like...
They do a real good job of looking fulfilled. They're like... Oh, now I know what you are. It's like he's just jizzed or something. He's like,
but that's a great scene, really well lit as well. They come over like a sand dune, and it's like sort of lit from behind them.
It's like the only part of the film where they look like genuinely happy and not sort of snide or mean. Do you know what I mean?
He says, "Now you know what we are. Now you know what you are."
Yeah.
He's like, you know, you'll live forever, but you've got to feed. Basically, if you want to stay alive now, you're fucked. You've got to kill someone.
So Michael heads back home to his brother, and then Star comes round. And
how'd she get into the window without being invited?
I think you can come into the house, but the laws of being a vampire still apply to you, don't they?
I see. So you can only use magic if you're invited into a house. That's a bit of a weird law, isn't it?
Yeah, well, so that's why none of the stuff works, but all of them enter the house, don't they? All the other vampires don't get invited.
Or is it if you invite the head vampire in, it transfers along the vampire line?
No, I think because the second time he's like, I didn't invite you this time.
Yeah, but that don't mean shit, does it?
He's already invited.
Do you think once you're invited once,
that's
you go back there?
Yeah.
Oh dear.
He's like changed his shape in there, doesn't he? He's quite powerful in there. He's fucking launching people around.
Yeah, well I think he can use his powers even when he's invited in. I don't know.
Well, you're saying if he wasn't invited in, he wouldn't be able to use his powers?
No,
he wouldn't be able to get in?
No, if he wasn't invited in, all of those things would have worked on him. Like garlic.
No, that's the whole thing. That's the whole point. That's why he
water.
says you're the man of the house and I'm not coming in until I'm invited.
You know, I get that.
Thank you very much, Professor Science.
But yeah, if he hadn't have said he couldn't have come in.
You saying he physically couldn't come in or that he would be vulnerable?
No, he physically couldn't come in.
He couldn't pass.
That's a rule. Vampires can't come in unless they're
they
invited.
all come into the house, don't they?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Do they all come into the house because the head vampire's been invited in and so he's like, the whole brood has been able to get in?
I never thought about that, but that must be the thing. There's no other explanation.
Well, I always read it that coming into the house, things like his weaknesses, like holy water or things that don't work.
I mean, that applies. That's good.
Yeah.
That's a lot of lines to read between.
Read between the lines, you fool! No!
But anyway, so she begs for their help, really, and sort of puts him in a position of, right, well, let's try and help. And Sam wants help, so obviously it's his brother. So in the morning, they call the Frog Brothers, and they borrow Grandad's car.
It's tool-up scene.
It's like a mini tool-up scene, this one, isn't it?
The music's fucking amazing.
So yeah, because they kind of got the two tool-up scenes in this film, isn't there?
Yeah.
So they do their mini one now, where they get all their stuff, all the gear, and the Frog Brothers and all of them head down there. What song is it?
It's like...
Yeah, it's not a tune, it's just a motivational sort of bit of background music. It's fucking good. But it's funny because it's like you watch Commando and like watch Arnie tool up, and then these guys are putting like wooden stakes and they've got like
a canteen.
A canteen, that's it, to fill with like holy water. It's like, and they arrive on BMXs.
You gotta love a tool up scene, haven't you?
Yeah.
Especially what they do well in the 80s when it's people tooling up with just what they've got they can get hold of.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Obviously Dusk Till Dawn's got a great one. With all the stuff
that's fucking amazing, yeah.
So yeah, a tool up scene in a horror film is always fucking class because you know some shit's about to go down. So they head down to the sunken hotel, and when they got there, they're trying to search for the head vampire. Yeah, so they find Star and Thingy first, but like he's like, no, don't you take her or whatever.
Yeah, and then she says take Laddie first, so they get the little kid out of there.
Because Michael's passed out in the car, and
but Michael and Star are in the car, aren't they? And
it's daylight, isn't it? They're weak. So he's just jizzed, so he's like, oh.
Yeah, and the Frog Brothers and Sam continue, and they find the vampires where they all sort of sleep hung upside down, which is quite cool.
It is cool, yeah.
Brilliant. Their feet look great.
Yeah, and they decide to stab the littlest one first.
That's a weird thing to do, isn't it?
Stupidest thing.
Well, they just say first come, first state.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like he's in the way, so they're just going to go through it in order, but they don't realise, they think that they're going to stab him and that they will stay asleep.
Yes, but of course Alex Winter doesn't go so easily, does he? And he starts fucking screaming and shit flying out of him. And what the fuck is flying out of him?
That's the first vampire the Frog Brothers are killed, do you reckon?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Because, I think it gets referenced in there at some point. They're like,
They say something of quietly, all the different
but everything they know is from comics.
It's just from comics.
Yeah, I think so. But fair play to them.
Yeah.
I mean, they got no qualms about stabbing a stake through his heart.
No.
And man, they do actually get the stake through his heart out the other side. You're trying to do that with a piece of wood to somebody. You would take fucking so many goes.
Yeah.
Unless their chest was really soft.
And hanging sort of like on the sides of something, one-handed.
Yeah.
And he's upside down. You got to hit his heart.
And punch it through his body.
That stake would need to be so sharp.
Yeah, there's a lot of fluid that comes out of these vampires when they die. Alex Winter's pissing fluid
Yeah.
all over them, isn't he?
So yeah, so
vampires go the same, though, don't they? In this?
yes, all of the Lost Boys are connected, aren't they? So they make that little glib joke that like first come, first staked. So they stab Alex Winter. He wakes up and starts screaming, pissing blood everywhere, and then all of them wake up. But you sort of see David's face.
It's like they're all in pain, isn't it?
Yeah, they're all
connected.
Like a
Yeah.
hive mind.
Yeah.
So Alex Winter drops, doesn't he? That's cool. He's like his feet let go and he just fucking falls to the floor.
So the rest of the vampires wake up and they're not best pleased with what the Frog Brothers have done. So they're trying to grab the Frog Brothers and Sam as they're scrambling out of there.
It's a very narrow tunnel they're going backwards through, isn't it?
Yeah, and David's at the front and he manages to grab Sam's leg. And they're like, pull him into the light, pull him into the light.
Yeah, there is a little
There's a
shaft of
shaft.
light. A shaft, yeah.
And when his hand
Thin shaft.
when his hand reaches the thin shaft, it bursts into flames. And then there's a great shot of Kiefer Sutherland retracting his hand.
And he screams. Great noise.
Then the tear rolls down his face, and that was because of the contact lenses. He wasn't acting.
Wasn't comfortable.
It just like the contact lenses made his eyes run.
It's like fucking Sinead O'Connor, man. That's what made that video. Was that tear that came spontaneously, and even though he didn't mean to cry, massive fucking scene, like when he.
Well, that's it. The crew said it's kind of in context and it works.
Of course it is.
Fucking cool. So like, yeah, we'll keep it in.
It's great.
So then,
But get to cliff chop and reverse, and he's like, Christ!
Yeah.
It's like fucking. Always
They almost go off the edge.
creases me up. Christ!
Christ!
They pull the mind scramble harness. They open their eyes and start screaming.
the guys head back to their house and they know that David and everyone's going to be after him.
You got the montage music again now.
This new montage where they're sort of boarding the house, where they're getting the holy water from the church and putting it in the water pistols. You got that great shot of the one Frog Brother. He's like, tee, 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 tee.
Yeah. Terrible line on that fire.
I fucking loved this bit as a kid because this was the bit that was like, oh man,
I could do this.
Yeah, exactly. I could do this. I've got the fucking equipment to fucking do this. If ever I got like a gang of punk fucking vampires moved in with the Mayfair or something.
Even when I watched this when I was 10, I was like sceptical at the time. It took me years to realise that holy water mixed in with normal water would do the same job.
Oh yeah, because I was like, how the fuck did they fill that fucking bath up? How many times did they go to that church?
How many canteens did that take?
Fuck off!
I'm not blessing any more of this water.
A little bowl. He would have been there like all day. Like, taking it all right, I'll do another batch. Fuck's sake! There would literally been like fucking 200 trips
Yeah.
to fill that up.
Yeah.
But interesting, so I went to the Mayfair recently, and I think if you were a vampire, you would hang around.
You went to the Mayfair recently, man. It's fucking November.
Oh yeah. I remember way back in May when I went to the Mayfair. I remember thinking at the time, if I was a vampire, I would hang around somewhere like that because it would be easy pickings, wouldn't it, to get people.
It would, but they'd soon fucking work it out, wouldn't they? Everywhere this fucking fair went.
Well,
someone would die.
There's already a lot of predators around there.
Right over there, please.
man, there's a movie to be had there about a fucking fair going around and like vampires being the ones who do it.
Lost Boys 2.
I think actually one of the Howlins might be that actually.
They're in a travelling circus, aren't they?
Yeah, I think one of the Howlins. Anyway, they barricade the house out. They send the granddad off. Say, "Oh, Widow Johnson, she's after some."
Yeah, she said, what time are you going to be here for your date tonight? We got a date tonight. She said, yes, she said, not to be late. He said, well, better get ready then. He's mad for it, isn't he?
Well, he's going to get his fucking vampire killing stuff ready, I reckon.
Yeah,
well, he knows fucking Widow Johnson isn't real.
Well, I think she's real.
No,
well,
he's the one who made her up.
Yeah,
what if he did make her up?
He made her up so he can go out vampire hunting. She's not real.
I do like this idea.
Oh, yeah, so do I. He just doesn't allude to it enough in the film. This sounds like a lot of fan theory.
It is. We're making it up.
Yeah, you're creating our own canon. Anyway, so yeah, they board up the house and they wait.
Then you realise he's left the nook outside.
Yeah, they
there.
take the nook outside, don't they? Well, they get the house ready. And
What a
he's tied
mistake
up.
to make her.
Yeah.
And why tied up so far away? That's fucking ridiculous.
A real oversight that was. They knew what was
You're
going
getting your house ready for a vampire attack.
Maybe he was getting in the way and doing stupid shit.
Do you think they came down and untied the nook and tied him up far away so that they could shit him up by having them run outside to
that's
go
too
get
much
him?
now.
Oh, really? Now that's too much.
Do you think they had a Big Mac and chips before he turned up?
Maybe.
Exactly.
So Sam runs out to get him and runs back, and then we have the
You
sort
had
of
the noise of
flying-
the-
Yeah. Which is fucking awesome. And this whole ending's just fucking class, man.
Yeah.
From here on in. So now we start the sort of siege part of the film.
Oh, they fucking burst through everywhere, don't they?
Yeah.
One comes up through the fucking fire.
How does he
stone
come
fire.
through the fucking underneath the fireplace?
No, he comes down the chimney, doesn't he?
No, he comes up from underneath.
He comes out the grate of the fire, doesn't he?
He like bursts through from. He's like and smash the light, and basically a lot of the house is in darkness.
The frog boys are upstairs.
But somebody
with
walks
Sam,
through, and
aren't they?
basically what happens is you get a cut shot to Laddie, who's starting to change.
Yes.
And he's like starting to pant and breathe and whatever, and then basically he bursts out
He looks fucking terrifying.
He does.
Yeah.
So the Frog Brothers, holy shit, it's the attack of any monster.
Yeah.
Which is like a great little line. But then Star bursts out from behind the door. She's like, get away from him, don't touch him, he's just a kid. But that's when we then see from behind the door burst Twisted Sister.
The garlic don't work.
Yeah, so they try and get him with some garlic, that don't work, but then they push him into the holy water.
Well, the Nook does, doesn't he? They're squirting him. And
yeah, so we see the
Fuck having holy water squirted in your eyes.
But it's called the effect on his face when his face is melting
like
a bit.
Yeah, the whole bath bit where he pops back out is pretty fucking cool as well. And then fucking this bit's got to be some magic involved because I don't know the science. All the plumbing blows up.
It does. It's just all the vampire blood's like fucking going through the pipes and shit.
Which
I suppose
cool.
if it's like been dissolved with holy water, it's got to be like explosive because it can't separate from it. It would be like.
Job done.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It'd be like elemental, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it's
You know what I mean? Like
reacting to the
magnesium
vampire.
or some shit. You know what
And
I mean?
then it adds just like an extra sort of supernatural bit to it, doesn't it? Having all like the pipes with like the blood
Another bit I've never questioned. I just thought it was fucking awesome cherry on the cake.
which just heightens the whole sort of like.
As if someone goes to walk in the
house.
kitchen and the kitchen's like.
It's like angry, isn't it? It's like, like the fucking toilet just cracks and explodes like, and just drops to the floor.
So that's how we lose Dwayne, and then the next vampire we sort of see is Paul, and Paul sort of attacking the guys downstairs, isn't he? With sort of Sam, and he flies up in the air, and Sam grabs his bow and arrow, shoots it at him, and the way he thuds the ground's great.
Brilliant.
Flying up.
It's like he was hovering above the ground and somebody cut a string.
Yeah, and
It's a really impressive, like sort of like that you said, fall. It's great.
But then it turns out that he was.
He's playing possum.
He was. And so yeah, he pops up and he's like,
You miss sucker!
Because he shoots him in like the arm or something, doesn't he? But he just puts it on there, and it's fucking great.
He shoots him into the stereo, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And the stereo comes on, and he's like, ah! He's like
I
electrocuted.
don't think he'd be electrocuted that bad.
From a high five.
It's more that he's been shot through the fucking
With an arrow
through the heart at the same time, isn't
Yeah,
it?
there's some magic going on.
And the tune that comes on as well. I think it's like Good Times by INXS or something. It's like, gonna have a good time tonight. Rock and roll music.
INXS were in the soundtrack though, weren't they?
Yeah, no, that's it. It's Good
That was
Times.
the reason. I think one of the actors.
It was Keith Sutherland.
Keith Sutherland. The only reason he did it was because the INXS were going to be in the soundtrack.
He'd been working in Australia, hadn't he?
Yeah. But so Joel Schumacher's Australian.
He was hell of a shot as well with that bow and arrow, mind. I don't even think I could fire a bow and arrow, let alone be that good a shot to get the power and
with enough force to kill a man.
Yeah.
It'd be quite hard. Like
Hit him in the heart as well.
I think the first shot, that was him being like sort of a bit airy-fairy with it, and the second one was like, that's what he said, only once, pal. And he's got a bit more determination about him that time, so he drives it through him.
But yeah, so he shakes and then he fucking blows up. His arms and hands fly off and everything.
And obviously, great scene, great death, and fucking what a line.
You miss sucker, only once, pal, and then death by stereo. You got those three lines back to back. Do you know what I mean? It's so fucking iconic.
And yeah, probably been sampled a shitload.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, do it! Death by stereo.
And then it's the sort of confrontation between Michael and David, and they're like sort of flying around the room up in the air, like pushing each other sort of back and forth.
It's fantastic effects because they're in a cabin, but they're in a rooftop, and there's not a lot of room to play with. But basically, one of them flies with, it's like a sort of almost Superman pose, and David pushes Michael, and like the space they've got is like watching Cirque du Soleil or something.
There's only 2 blue screen shots in this. But yeah, one of them's now at this point. But yeah, he's hardly any throughout the film.
That's why it looks so good.
Yeah, so
but
it does
at that
age
time,
pretty
though,
well, I guess.
Yeah.
So they have this fight, and David goes to push Michael onto this sort of.
He's like, my blood's in you, Michael. He's like, so is mine. It's like the lamest line.
That was the lamest line in the film.
There's not much of a comeback, is it?
No. And he stabs David onto 2 antlers, which technically shouldn't work.
Well, maybe it didn't.
He does die in a very like.
In a second,
he doesn't blow up.
He's got a peaceful way.
It's very good pacing throughout the entire film. You get straight into it. You get him like first night getting turned. Even like the deaths were pretty fucking quick. The first 2 were dead within minutes as soon as they went into the house. Even that fight with David, it's over pretty quickly, isn't it?
It's very much like Monster Squad in a lot of respects. This film, it's like the adult version of Monster Squad. But one of the other similarities is the pacing. It don't fucking wait.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I would say that 80s films, especially this era, they do just like fucking just get you in and out of the cinema. It's a popcorn flick.
Yeah,
but it's
perfect.
I think this transcends popcorn flick. There's a bit when David's impaled on the antlers, and we have a cut back to him. There's like a red light on him, and he looks fucking clean shaven.
They made him look like an angelic boy, haven't they?
Oh yeah, his powers have dwindled.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. Well, it's like he's almost been released, isn't it? It's like he's finally at peace, isn't he?
He's not got
the evil in him
anymore.
anymore.
More boyish.
Because it's weird because the light could make it look like it's just a weird angle and you can't see his stubble.
Yeah,
but I swore blind for years that he looked clean shaven. I was like,
I think you're right.
How's that happened?
I think you're right.
Well, that's interesting theory.
So obviously David bites the dust, and then Max and their mum turns up, and then it's the big sort of twist reveal that Max is actually the head vampire.
And it's all been a setup.
Yes.
So that he can get to her. He's got his boys to hang around with her boys to try and turn them. And
One big
That's
happy
a
family.
good reveal as well. You know, a little bit cheesy, but he's like, I'm sorry, Lucy.
Well, classic, straightforward plot. He wants straight to it.
He's like, my boys have been misbehaving.
We need a mother.
Yeah.
For fucking years, man. If you asked me who played that part, I would have told you it was John Lithgow. For years. And only watching him like, oh fuck, it's not John Lithgow. Yes, it's revealed that he's Max, and great makeup on him at the end, which was actually based on Joel Schumacher's face.
Was it?
He fell out with the effects department, and I think he's a bit of a twat to work with, from what I can gather from looking into it. And then he asks the mum to come join them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Help the family, and he grabs all of Sam, and he's got Sam by the sort of
He's
neck.
going to kill him, isn't he?
Sam puts up a real feeble attempt. He's like, don't touch my mother.
Yeah.
Runs up to him. He's like, got him in a headlock in like a second.
Yeah, and then Michael goes to do something, and the head vampire's like, fuck you. Just
He like launches him.
That's it again. Good launch.
launches him out there. So she's got no option but to become one of the undead. Become a shit-sucking vampire.
She took his hand.
Her face when she's doing it though, every person nailed every part. It's kind of like everything is a little bit safe for Hollywood, but believable. It's great.
So the next bit is just about to sort of culminate in the neck. We hear the granddad's car. Now, it's great, this bit, but
He's taking a real chance.
Yeah.
he is a fucking chance.
He came so close to killing everyone in that room.
Exactly. This is what I said earlier. His ending is a bit.
He didn't know where he was stood.
Unless he'd been like looking through a window, he's going to get his car.
By the time he's got to his car, Google could have moved, and fucking he's got his grandson.
Yeah, well, even to him though, outside nothing looks different. Surely.
Yeah, it's just a house with windows.
So he's just driving into his house.
I reckon he's been fucking staking the place out.
No.
He hasn't gone to fucking Widow Johnson.
All he can see outside is Max's
He's
car.
been there all along. He's like, right, I'm going to.
And like everything looks normal, but he
This is
just
the-
drives his car through the
I
fucking
reckon he's
window.
pissed, and he's had an accident,
Yeah,
and he's just trying to
It
start
was
it
an
out.
accident, like just like
This is where your theory lets itself down. You had Sam there to know when he was free. He would have to be looking through the window, run back to his car, and floor it to get there.
What
in
are
time.
the other options that he drove in by fucking accident?
Yeah.
No!
Yes, but he definitely didn't drive by accident.
Oh no, he knew there was something going on.
He drove in backwards!
Where did that one wooden bit of wall come from that went through just the right angle? Where's the rest of the stakes?
He was staking stuff earlier in the film, wasn't he?
Yeah, early in the film you see.
Yeah, but no other bits like that fly through except
There's
that one
loads of
bit.
fucking stakes on the back of the car.
Ah, it's
There's
debris.
fucking loads of them.
Yeah, but no, there's
The car's
debris
full of fucking
flying.
stakes.
It's just that one. I'm not buying that was intentional. He could be staking it out, but he didn't do that on purpose.
I reckon, yeah, he was trying to
tried-
kill him with those stakes, but yeah, he was being very reckless.
When I saw this film first, and I was young, it did not bother me. Watching it now, it is a bit like...
Absolutely, we're splitting
we
hairs.
are splitting hairs, but as
Yeah,
a kid, on my first watch of this, I did not question that at all.
No.
And I was like, that's a fucking amazing ending. I did not think that he was going to come through. He was just fucking brilliant. And I think this is what makes this film so fucking cool now, is this ending. Because it's so understated, and they could have made it so cheesy and so shit. They're showing like them all down with like fucking Star and the little kid.
They're all
playing on the
fucking
beach.
covered in blood and...
It literally leaves you wanting more.
It's fucking brilliant.
they're all fucking filthy, aren't they, from the house blowing up. And
Yeah,
Hands
the
off
From
shit.
brothers have got like they've got no uniform, have they? But they're always wearing militant tops and stuff. But one's got like a little pair of fucking welding goggles or something, and the other one's got like some sort of like you'd see on a film where they're watching a nuclear blast.
Yeah.
He just flips one up and says, "How much
But
are
did
you
he,
charging for this?"
did he fucking blow up? All that smoke and debris is because the head vampire fucking explodes.
Yeah.
doesn't
Oh, yeah,
like,
he
in a
blows up
massive
when he's
explosion.
dead,
Is
yeah.
that right? Or does he land in the fireplace and explode?
I think he
Yes,
goes
I think
into
he
the
does.
fireplace.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
does. That's soot.
So the granddad walks over, and this fucking shot, this is brilliant. He walks over, it's dark, and he walks over to the refrigerator and opens it up, and the light from the refrigerator lights him, so it looks so fucking cool.
But it's just a silhouette, isn't it?
Yeah, and then you see the shot of the family, it kind of like tracks over as they walk, and it stays on them, and they're looking like straight down the barrel of the camera, aren't they? Such a fucking cool shot. It
great
stays
use of
completely
light, yeah.
still. And they're like Grandpa's like...
He takes the time, doesn't he? He opens the fridge to get a bottle of his root beer, quote unquote, and then he just pops the cap and it's like a bottle of Coke, isn't it? And he's like, he's like, the one thing I never could stand about living in Santa Carla, all the damn vampires.
And then it just cuts to the family. And
He
just
shuts the
slowly-
fridge.
Yeah, it does. The
light
fade out,
fade,
isn't
yeah.
it? And they're all a bit like, what the fuck? Fucking brilliant. It knew that the vampires are dead. That's all that fucking matters. Like, we don't need to fucking show some shit scene up.
Yeah.
Just end it there. It's a bit ambiguous and a bit fucking cool. And
Yeah.
And then Echo and the Bunnymen's like ding,
Kicks
ding,
in.
ding. It's
But
fucking amazing.
man, like, I think that ending
it-
is fucking brilliant.
It's whether film empowers music or music empowers film. I don't know where the balance is, but that, again, at the end there, just what a fucking marriage of film and music.
If they hadn't done a couple of little things like that and it hadn't been as gory, it would have actually been a bit like namby-pamby and a bit like fucking lame.
But it's fucking
They made
cool.
it edgy, didn't they?
It's so cool.
Because it had those edgier bits throughout it, even though it was like sort of a bit romantic and a bit 80s in other places and a bit sort of cliche, because it had those bits, it makes it fucking amazing.
Yeah, it's not even forgivable. It's still fucking amazing.
Alright then, so I guess we get to our scores. So, as a Halloween film, I think if you're looking to put something on that you could either just have on the background background or would work if you wanted to watch it with your mates, I think obviously it'd be a fantastic fucking Halloween film. I think I'd give it a 10. I think it's iconic enough. It's a great film. It's a great watch. Yeah, it's got to be a 10. I don't know what to give it as a film because it is so fucking good and I do enjoy it. It's one of those films that's really hard to be objective about because of how iconic it is, and it was always one of them fucking amazing films as a kid, wasn't it? Because it does have its minor faults, I think, at times. It is a bit cheesy in places, and some things do sort of fall flat. But again, I think it ends up making it better. So, fuck it. I'm going to give it 10 out of 10.
Nice.
Fuck it.
Yeah, I don't know whether the magic in this film is the fact that there were some shit actors just getting better and honing their skill, or some great actors who played down the roles, but something happened in this film for me that hit all the right notes when I watched it. So a lot of my score is going to be for nostalgia, but I can't help that. This is still a brilliantly made film. Basically, I think every character that they got somehow nailed. They all understood their role. It's not even that speech heavy. There's a lot going on, but there's no great scripts or anything, but everything that everybody says, just you understand where you're at with the film. And like we said, they don't waste any time. It's constantly moving forwards. I think the acting's great. I think the scripts are great. I think they're well executed. I think it's brilliantly lit. It's atmospheric. Everything they've done in this film for me is right. So as a Halloween film, I kind of have a different opinion on what you said. I think if you know it, brilliant, and it was on in the background, yeah, you'd get it. And it's a great Halloween film. I think you have to be looking at the TV at the right time to kind of get what it's about. You could quite easily kind of miss the gory scenes and everything. But again, tastefully done in little segments, not gratuitously sick. So you do have to be looking at the right time. So I think as a Halloween film, I would probably give it an 8. But as a film, fucking hell, I'm going to have to borrow points. So I'm going to have to give another film 5 because I want to give this one 15. There's no question in my head that this is a 10.
High praise indeed. High praise
Where'd
indeed.
you go from there, Alan?
Well, yeah, I'm just going to say that for a Halloween film, because there's not a lot that actually happens. Like, the bath scene and the fights at the end. Like Tab, I think you got to watch it at the right moment because I think the way that we've been doing them is if they were on in the background.
Yeah,
I think if it was just on screen like vampires a little bit longer, it would be a 10. But just for the amount of time that they're actually on screen, I'm just going to give it a 6.
And all 5 points of it would be if you had mates around and you want to put a Halloween film on, it would be great.
But for a film, yeah, I mean, I think the only film I've given a 10 is Raiders, and I've been trying to think where it stands next to Raiders, and like I can't really fault it. I mean, it's a 10. It's a 10. I mean, I wrote down a 9, but after like talking about it, I've like literally just sat thinking, I don't think there's anything that I dislike in it. So it's got to be a 10.
Yeah, there's something too summary about this film for a Halloween film. You know, you think of like Halloween, you think of like Graveyard at Midnight and it's all scary and it's a bit cold, and so it didn't feel for me too much like a Halloween film. Although, you know, if we were like, let's watch a fucking film together and we could all quote it, then, you know, that would be...
If you know it, it's so iconic. You can see a scene from it. It's the fucking Lost Boys. You know you're watching.
But if you know it, it's not scary.
Yeah, but it's quite tenuous. I think it's the Lost Boys of vampires like Dracula. Dracula was a Halloween film. It's
the way that they dress and everything has that sort of gothic aesthetic.
There is a bit of like organ music in it a little bit as well.
And then Leia and everything, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like the things and the whole sort of like siege thing at the end.
But as a Halloween film, I will give it a 7. But yeah, as a film, you know, the fucking acting's great. It just screams quality despite having such a low budget. When I saw the budget was 8.5 million, I was like, fucking hell. Well, they've done so well with that. Yeah,
deserved every fucking penny.
I think they must have got some very hungry, decent actors and convinced them that 200 grand was...
Well, they're all kids, you think.
That's what I mean.
You know what I mean? It's all like... there's no
Hungry young fighters.
Well, there's no big star in it, is there?
No,
there's no fucking...
not at the time.
It took 32 million.
Jesus.
So it wasn't even that. I mean, it's pretty big.
Yeah, you'd
So
be happy with 4 times the money though, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you had an amazing cast, quality film, fucking fantastic soundtrack, so quotable. I think there was a point in the 90s when I watched it and I thought, fucking hell, this is aging badly. But watching it now, it just fucking screams nostalgia. But yeah, it's unquestionably a 10, isn't it?
Yeah. That's our first ever...
Unanimous 10.
Yeah, because this idiot gave Raiders of the Lost Ark a 9.
Yeah.
I stand by it.
I think you backed him in a corner and you couldn't get out of it.
You two can fucking chat about it all you like.
Quite a thing. Our first clean sweep of 10s.
Nice, well deserved, well earned.
Yeah, so I think if you're an 80s fan out there, you fucking must have seen this film. Jesus Christ.
And if not, your life is going to change.
Yeah, it's fantastic. This is a film I'd be really interested to know, somebody who's never, maybe not a generation, showing it to a younger person, what they would actually think.
I'd be interested in to see if they'd clock on to the twists in it.
Yeah, I think we've got some rose-tinted things.
Yeah, no, I agree totally. We were a generation that was impressed by America and...
Well, Bill watched it a few years ago, and then we tried to watch it as a night, fell asleep.
Yeah, I feel like it's more Harry Potter and fucking other kind of mythical beasts now.
He fell asleep before we fucking started it. I was like, right, we're going to watch it now. I literally fucking turned the control. He's like, fuck's sake.
Okay, so there we are. That's the end of our little Halloween series. So, yeah, thank you very much for tuning in. And normal programming will resume soon.
Amazing. Thank you and goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
We both like, bye.